So we're at a very critical point here in our story. The village has decided they very much like the designs of the houses. So now the question is how they're going to be built. And the first step in that process is how the village gets permits. And that road starts right here. We're on the road to Jenin. And outside of Jenin is an IDF military facility that holds the offices for an organization called COGAT. And COGAT, along with the military, controls what happens in Area C. And the village of El Aqaba is part of that region.
This same man, Asher Rosalit, has been going to the village since 1982. Before Oslo Accords, this man has had jurisdiction over watching what happens in El Aqaba. He has jurisdiction for the whole area, and he carefully explained to us that he also issues demolition orders to settlement outposts. It's not clear how many and what the ratio is, and there's a lot more to learn, but we found our way to that man, the same man who for all this time has been issuing demolition orders. It was a little scary. He was proud of his work. He was proud of knowing Arabic and Hebrew. He insisted that he was doing his job and that others were making the decisions behind the demolition orders that he delivers. We walked out wondering why he does what he does. I guess I closed part of our interview by conveying something that Haj Sami Sadek asked me to tell him, which was that the villagers would like to talk with him, that they really would like to sit down and talk with him. And that seemed to startle him a little bit. For all these years, they've not had a conversation, only demolition orders left on rocks. He said that demolition orders are in place for any building that was built after 2004. And the kindergarten was finished in 2004, so does that mean the kindergarten or not the kindergarten? But doesn't that pale in the comparison of so many homes under demolition orders? The village is at risk of demolition. Every single structure there, but for two, are at risk of demolition. And anything we build will receive a demolition order, even if we participate in an unattainable permit process. What are the blue areas? What do they mean?
It's the state land.
State? Whose state?
Whose state? Good question.
It's really important that people understand what the big picture is. So BIMCOM, Israeli Planners for Planning Rights, a group of architects and urban planners who've recognized this problem, who've been seeing it for what it is. Well, that's where we found what really has to be considered almost a treasure trove of information. They'd successfully pursued a Freedom of Information Act request to the Israeli government to get a list of all the demolition orders in Area C.
Every month, there was about 60 demolition orders, about 20 actual demolitions, and only one building permits for Palestinians in Area C. The 12,000 demolition orders, I'm sure that there are more demolition orders, but you can find out that this is the numbers, and it's a huge number. And if you look at the map, you can see that there are many dots all over Area C, that it's all becomes with red dots and look like everywhere there are demolition orders, which is true. Which in the past they used to issue about thousands of building permits every year, and about 97% of the applications were approved. In these days, only 5% of the applications are approved. So it's a change of policy, and there are many tools that they're creating to use Area C only for the Israeli interest.
Abdullah Hamad explained in detail the process of filing a master plan. This will be the third master plan filed.
حاولنا نعمله بطريق يخدم غرضين. الغرض الأول أنه كل البيوت المبنية بدون ترخيص تكون في داخله. الهدف الثاني أنه يكون من حيث المساحة يتناسب مع المعايير المقبولة في الإدارة المدنية للاحتلال.
Are you optimistic or pessimistic that the civil administration will accept this plan?
I hope they accept. Of course, I don't think they will accept this. I think they will ask us to make it smaller and smaller.
From your perspective as attorneys, what do you think the Israeli objectives are for Aqaba and the other villages?
It's easy to know that. They need this, they want to take this land.
Simple.
Yes, they want the land. They think if no master plan, no electricity, no water, the people will not be there. They will go to Taysir and other village so they can use this land for military training.
We brought with us the designs for the homes, beautiful designs for the homes. And we brought with us a long roll of the village plan, a type of contingency planning document like none you've ever seen before. It's a town planning that layer by layer happens one step at a time. Not just because they raise the money to move to the next step, but because with each construction they weigh the winds, they figure out what might be left standing, and then decide whether they'll take another constructive resistance program, or whether they can build legally, whether they can move forward with confidence. It really became clear to me that their dreams have to be shown, and that this was a way to do it. What JLAC was telling us was that they'll begin the new master plan process in the next week or so. They fully expect that this one too will be denied, and this is the third one. It's the third one, each time smaller, because the army is saying the village doesn't deserve to have more than 300 people in it. What do we do as Rebuilding Alliance? Well, the moment that plan is filed, we ask everyone in the world to press their elected officials to see that plan accepted. We don't think it'll work, but we want everyone to try. Maybe that was the most surprising thing, the most positive thing about meeting with Asher Rosalit at the Israeli Army's district office. The most positive thing about meeting with him was that a letter from Congresswoman Jackie Spear was on his desk, that through all of our networking, all our visits to Washington on behalf of this village, our efforts with our outreach network, and all the people who called their congresswomen and congressmen, it worked. It got to the desk of the man who issues the demolition orders.